interesting pockets of clouds everywhere today. It's creating extreme dark spots in some spots, and then some areas like this is super bright. And what's going on today? This was kind of an interesting read. It relates to that story with that war between Ukraine and Russia. There's accusations that DJI is helping Russia because, one, the claim is they are throttling, I guess, Ukraine-related DJI products like the Aeroscope in terms of tracking drones. And at the same time, they're saying, how come you don't bar sales of drones to Russia? Well, I guess with this, they're deciding, we'll just decide not to, I guess, sell products to both sides. It says, DJI reassesses sales compliance efforts in light of current hostilities. It was pretty short too in terms of the notice. It says, DJI is internally reassessing compliance requirements in various jurisdictions. Pending the current review, DJI will temporarily suspend all business activities in Russia and Ukraine. We are engaging with customers, partners, and other stakeholders regarding the temporary suspension of business operations in the affected territories. I guess you could say they're kind of taking the safe route, if you could call it that, because just based on the situation, it's a no-win scenario either way. You could continue selling it to both of them, then people would argue, for example, hey, why aren't you giving this side more resources or free ones? That means you don't support them. You could be selling it here to both parties and then say, hey, why aren't you cutting off supply to this one? That means you're supporting them, so it's no win either way. At the same time, even now, I could imagine where, because they're saying, okay, we're just deciding not to sell it to either, people could say, well, that just proves you support the other side because you're just doing this for political reasons. But one thing you can't rule out, I guess, is during these times, certain manufacturers, they're making a lot of money, I guess, over people fighting with each other in this war, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's kind of interesting in this case to see how this turns out ultimately. And this was kind of interesting with things like over-the-top drone regulations. Do people in the US think the FAA is actually, I guess, doing a good job per se, or being more laxed in terms of people being able to use drones? This one's meant more for commercial people, but it says FAA is giving commercial drone operators the green light. While rulemaking continues, the FAA is busy granting waivers to American drone operators. There can be little doubt that the FAA is paving the way for a framework governing the widespread operation of commercial drones in the US. In advance of a definite ruling on whether commercial drones can operate beyond visual line of sight, the FAA has been busily granting case-by-case permission to drone operators for exactly that. One recent example, just announced, drone company American Robotics has added 7 additional sites of operation approved by the FAA for its automated BVLOS drone technology, the Scout system. American Robotics has 10 operational sites across 8 US states. And it goes on, I did read about this company before too. It says elsewhere in the commercial drone sector, Percepto, which offers autonomous inspection by Industrial Robotics, recently announced it will deploy autonomous drones to monitor Florida power and light substations and power distribution grids across the state. The deployment represents the largest commercial autonomous drone project in the world, a staggering feat given the relatively slow pace with which the FAA has moved to adopt a framework. So it's an interesting thought. Do you think in the US the FAA is the reason why, let's just say, commercial drone operations are growing? Because like they're saying, oh, they're kind of busy giving these guys waivers and all that. Whereas I guess the other perspective is they created a problem, let's just say, with regulations or whatever that don't make sense, and now they're just doing work on the problem they created. That's a perspective, because the best example would be that company Zipline. They're US based, but they had to take their operations elsewhere just because the regulations, they're so, I guess, cumbersome for, let's just say, commercial operators. And once they had all their operations, I guess, overseas, delivering blood and all that, I think only in recent times, a lot of US places are now using, I guess, their technology. So kind of two sides of the perspective there. I guess if you're in the US, do you think they're doing a great job per se, promoting the tech, encouraging innovation? Or again, do you think they're actually stifling it and putting little solutions there where ultimately it's them fixing a problem that they created per se? And I guess for those who don't usually use a drone, think of it kind of like all of a sudden a regulatory body decided everything with wheels, for example, like a bicycle, is a huge manned vehicle, like a car or a truck. And now they're saying, for example, oh, they've been busy giving bicycle riders permission to carry, I don't know, bags of groceries and so forth. That might be the over-the-top example, but that's kind of what it's like. Like there, would you say, oh, that agency is doing a great job innovating, I guess, bike riders, just delivering little stuff, for example? Or would you say, no, that would be an example of them just trying to fix a problem they created, because what they established initially didn't really cater to the mass majority in a common sense way. So it depends on what side of the coin you're at, I guess. Alright, see you guys later.